Did you know that movie trailers originally played after the movie? A movie trailer is a short advertisement for a feature film, showcasing key scenes for future exhibition in a movie theater or cinema. Historically, the first movie trailers emerged in the 1910s, created by film studios to promote their upcoming releases. These early trailers were shown after the main feature film, as a way to tease the audience about what was coming next. In the 1930s, movie theaters began to shift the placement of trailers to before the main feature film. This change was largely driven by the rise of double feature films, where two movies were shown back-to-back. Trailers became a way to fill the gap between the two films and keep the audience engaged. Movie trailers did indeed originate from being shown after the main feature film, but the shift to pre-rolled trailers in the 1930s marked a significant change in the way trailers were presented to audiences. Did you know that bees can fly higher than Mount Everest? A study published reveals that alpine bumblebees can fly in conditions that mimic low oxygen and thin air density, found at altitudes exceeding Mount Everest's peak, despite the fact that bees can fly higher than Mount Everest. The research in the University of Wyoming conducted their experiments where they collected bumblebees from a mountain range, at an altitude of approximately 3,200 meters. These bees were then placed in sealed boxes, where the oxygen levels and air density were manipulated to simulate increasing altitudes, and the results, some of the bees were able to fly in conditions equivalent to 9,000 meters, or the height of Mount Everest's. Researchers found that bees adjusted their wing stroke amplitude to scoop more air, to stay afloat, rather than simply beating their wings faster. This discovery has significant implications for our understanding of bee ecology, and suggests that bumblebees' ability to migrate to higher elevations is due to warming temperatures. Did you know that chainsaw originally invented for childbirth? The chainsaw as we know it, was originally invented as a medical tool, specifically a flexible saw, to aid in childbirth, and not for cutting wood. In the late 18th century, Scottish doctors John Aitken and James Jeffrey invented a flexible saw, to aid in childbirth, particularly during symphysiotomy. Symphysiotomy is a surgical procedure in which the cartilage of the pubic symphysis is divided, to widen the pelvis allowing childbirth. The procedure of flexible saw involved cutting through the pelvic bone and cartilage, to create a wider passage for the baby to pass through, and it was largely done without anesthesia, and mothers were completely conscious through the entire process. Over time, the design of the chainsaw evolved, and it began to be used for other purposes, such as cutting wood. The modern chainsaw, with its gasoline-powered engine and rotating chain, was developed in the late 19th century. Did you know that the world's largest waterfall is underwater? The largest waterfall in the world is actually an underwater feature called the Denmark Strait Cataract, located between Iceland and Greenland. This underwater waterfall is significantly larger than any land-based waterfall, measuring about 11,500 feet in height, making it 3 times taller than Angel Falls, the tallest land-based waterfall. It carries around 175 million cubic feet of water per second, which is 2,000 times more than Niagara Falls. The Denmark Strait Cataract is formed when cold and dense water from the East Greenland Current plunges down a slope in the ocean floor. This phenomenon occurs because cold water is denser than warm water, causing it to sink below the warmer water. The waterfall plays a crucial role in Atlantic Ocean circulation, feeding into the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, which helps move vital nutrients throughout the Atlantic Ocean. Did you know that the longest English word has more than 100,000 letters? The longest word in the world, often said to take about 3 hours to pronounce, is the chemical name for the protein, titin. This name, which is over 189,819 letters long, is the largest known protein in the human body, and it is essentially a string of all the amino acids that make up titin. This name is extremely long because it tries to describe every part of the protein's structure in one word, following scientific naming rules. However, this word is not found in dictionaries, and it's not used in everyday language, it's more of a technical curiosity. In fact, it takes hours to pronounce and is mostly known for being a record breaker. In more practical terms, the longest word in a dictionary is pneumonoultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, which consists of 45 letters, which is a type of lung disease caused by inhaling very fine silica dust. Did you know that Eiffel Tower grows during summer? The famous Eiffel Tower of France is indeed grow in summer, due to thermal expansion. When metal heats up, its molecules spread apart slightly, making the structure a bit taller. The thermal expansion is the phenomenon, which physical property of materials, especially metals where they expand when heated and contract when cooled, and the Eiffel Tower, built primarily of wrought iron, is especially susceptible to this effect because iron expands quite noticeably with temperature changes. Summer temperatures in Paris can reach 30 to 40 degrees Celsius, causing Eiffel Tower to expand by approximately 6 inches, due to the increased heat. During winter temperature, the iron contracts, making the Eiffel Tower shorter than its height, and shrink by up to 6 inches during the coldest periods, due to thermal contraction. So, the Eiffel Tower is not a fixed structure, it breathes with the seasons, expanding and contracting in response to temperature. Did you know that cat urine glows under the black light? Cat urine glows under a black light, due to the presence of compounds like phosphorus and proteins, which fluoresce when exposed to ultraviolet UV light. When cat urine dries on surfaces, such as carpets or furniture, it becomes invisible to the naked eye, but can be detected using a black light, where it typically emits a yellow-green or bluish glow. This property makes black lights useful tools for pet owners and cleaners, trying to locate and remove hidden urine stains. However, it's important to note that other substances, such as bleach, tonic water, and certain detergents, can also fluoresce under UV light, so glowing spots are not always guaranteed to be cat urine. Despite this, black lights remain a widely used and effective method for detecting pet activities indoors. Did you know that competitive art was once Olympic sports? From 1912 to 1948, the Olympics included art competitions in 5 categories: architecture, literature, music, painting, and sculpture. These contests were introduced by Pierre de Coubertin, the founder of the modern Olympic Games, who believed that art and sport should be united, just like in ancient Greece. Each artwork had to be inspired by sports, and gold, silver, and bronze medals were awarded just like in athletic events. However, the competitions were discontinued after the 1948 London Games, because was that most of the participating artists were professionals, which conflicted with the Olympics' amateurism rules at the time. Since then, the Olympics have featured cultural programs instead, but not judged art competitions. This unique part of Olympic history highlights an early effort to blend athleticism with artistic expression. Did you know that Sahara Desert snowed for the first time in 1979? On February 18, 1979, snow fell in Ain Sefra, a town in northwestern Algeria, often called the gateway to the Sahara. This was the first recorded snowfall in the Sahara Desert. The snow lasted for about 30 minutes and lightly covered the sand dunes before melting away. This event was highly unusual due to the Sahara's extremely dry and hot climate, which makes snowfall almost impossible. Ain Sefra sits at an altitude of about 1,000 meters, or 3,280 feet, which may have contributed to the cold conditions necessary for snow. More recently, snow has fallen in the region again in 2016 to 2018, and even in 2022, possibly influenced by shifting climate patterns, showing that while it's rare, it's not entirely impossible with changing weather patterns. Did you know that selfies cause more death than shark attacks? Selfies have surprisingly become more deadly than shark attacks. Between 2011 and 2017, at least 259 people died worldwide due to selfie-related accidents, compared to just 50 shark attack deaths in the same period. More recent studies show selfie deaths continue to outnumber shark fatalities by at least 5 times. Common causes include falling from heights, drowning, electrocution, and being hit by vehicles or trains while posing. Young people account for a large number of these incidents. In response, some tourist spots have introduced no selfie zones to prevent dangerous behavior. On the other hand, shark attacks are rare, with about 80 to 100 incidents annually and fewer than 10 resulting in death. Despite the fear surrounding sharks, selfies, especially those taken in risky locations, pose a far greater risk.